Hello and welcome to the next in the series of WS Display webinars, this one on SEGO and QSEG configurations. Let's discuss a little bit about each of the two products, the QSEG and the SEGOs, and how they differ from each other. The first being QSEG. It involves a 40 millimeter non-backlit extrusion. And then SEGO is double the size, an 80 millimeter backlit extrusion. So one is smaller and is non-backlit, while the other one is larger and is backlit and used for backlit display applications. Both systems are modular and they can be used as single displays or as a display in a configuration standpoint. Both systems accommodate silicone-edged graphics. These are fabric graphics with silicone edge Keter beads sewn into the perimeter and then inserted inside of a system groove that is known as the SEG groove. Both systems share tools-free displays. They both have feet for stability. They both pack into compartmental cases for easy traveling and shipment. They both allow for double-sided graphics. Now, whether this includes printed double-sided graphics that are printed for each side, or a single-sided printed graphic and a blocker for the other side that could be a solid color for ambient light blockout or in a backlit blockout application. Both systems are aggressively priced. The three standard configurations that are available between these two products are available to purchase only. There is no rental from WS, and you can contact us at any time for custom configurations. Now, these points of interest that I'll discuss are important in regards to an inline configuration that is typically used for a trade show display. Most inline trade show displays are standard at an 8-foot level. You have to remember these products, both the QSEG and SEGO in our configuration offerings, are not 8 feet tall. The height of these reach a total of 7 foot 4 inches. Obviously, that's 8 inches shorter than the domestic style displays used in traditional trade show applications. There are some third-party options in order to reach an 8-foot desired height. These are typically done with third-party applications that are not done by WS Display, but can be achieved through custom exhibit house use of different third-party solutions, whether that could be header cards that could be stacked on top of the display, another extension of a frame on top, but several other options do exist in order to reach that additional 8 inches in height that we do not offer, once again, from WS Display. Also, an important programming note regarding configurations. These are inline and 90-degree connections only. They are possible with the SEGO and QSEG frames that are exactly the same height. They do not work in different heights. So that's an important note to remember about that. That is only possible when connecting SEGO to SEGO or QSEG to QSEG that are different heights. These are examples of the SEGO and QSEG connectors when you're using them in a configuration together. They are offset from each other, so you have some top connectors that you see here on the left. You have a male stem that is for QSEG, while the smaller male stem is for SEGO, and they offset each other. The bottoms for the feet are the same configuration, just on a different plate. It's a foot as opposed to a clip. And then, of course, if you're making a 90-degree connection between a SEGO and a QSEG, left and right, you have the one that's on the far right. As we take a look at the three configurations, we'll start with configuration A, which is a combination of SEGO and QSEG. It's a 20-foot inline standard configuration that you would see. The end caps, the returns that you see on the 20-foot inline, are the SEGO backlit products. And then the two frames that are side by side in the middle are also SEGO backlit frames. The two frames that are on either side of the middle are QSEG frames. So you have front lit frames on either side of the middle, and then the return frames and the two frames in the very middle of the configuration are backlit. The counter that's in front of the display is also backlit. With each of the configurations, you'll get a parts list with a count of each of the components that it's necessary in order to create that configuration. As we move on to the second configuration, it's known as configuration B. It's more of a shell scheme look. It's where you're 20 feet in length across the back, you're 10 feet in depth from the back wall to the front. These are applications that can be utilized in retail configurations, also corporate environments, displays that are not necessarily trade show. In an inline application, this configuration may get into a little bit of trouble when it comes to the extension of those sidewalls. You cannot exceed all the way to 10 feet on a 10 by 10 or 10 by 20 inline. So you would have to cut one of those or a couple of those frames off. But if you're not restricted in that regard, and it's a shell scheme application where you can reach that level of height going to an aisle, then this is a great one to have. You have the two of the three return walls on the sides are QSEG front lit applications, while the middle frame is a SEGO backlit. Then you have backlits across the back in three places, and then QSEGs in other places. And then once again, like the previous configuration, you have a SEGO backlit counter. And once again, you have the parts list that coincides with the configuration B. And then we get into configuration C, and this is one that is really attractive and very popular among display inline booth configurations and designs because of their bridge capabilities. You have two bridges that are coming off the back wall to the front of the aisle, and in both of those bridge cases, they are backlit, whether it's the back wall, the front wall of the bridge, and then the top itself that covers the bridge. All three are backlit applications. You also have front lit QSEGs surrounding those two bridges from the return walls to the other ends of the back walls in between each of the bridges. And then once again, the front counter is a backlit SEGO. And once again, another parts list for configuration C that outlines all of the parts and pieces that are necessary to build that configuration. So the question beckons itself, can you create custom applications with these? The answer is yes. Just keep in mind that it's these two particular frames that can be customized, not different sizes. So you can interchange them however you like, but it's still the same size of frames that you're working with here in order to create custom layouts. Arranging the frames in just about any way possible is what you're able to do as long as they're on the perpendicular and parallel plane. A very easy way to create a wall system. It's cost effective and very custom in elements. It's very possible with this. And from a SEGO perspective, there are monitor mounts and shelving capabilities that can be discussed as long as you're using this particular size, the 100 by 225 by 12 frames to mount them on. As with any of our pre-configured applications and displays, there's always templates that are pre-created. And in this case, as you can see here with configurations A, B, and C, we have these already outlined for you. It shows you where the graphics go and how many you need for each specific frame and which frame designated by SEGO or QSEG in each application. So when it comes to graphic material, you have two different types. One is front lit stretch and the other is dye-sub backlit. Both of these are available for SEGO and QSEG. Both utilize the paper transfer dye sublimation using 12 millimeter by 3 millimeter Keter sewn into the perimeter of the fabric. Pull tabs are located in the bottom corners and for ease of removing a graphic. Your options are graphic packages, which include hardware and all graphics, or for repeat graphics, graphic onlys can be done for already purchased configurations. Production time, you need to see the product pages for current production times in each location. And of course, the location of each setup is available online. This is somewhat of an important slide as far as shipping goes. Graphic packages ship only from our Pacific fulfillment facility, and also graphic only reprints are shipped from our Pacific Coast facility as well. Hardware only can ship from California and Pennsylvania. We have a 1-year warranty on graphics as well as a lifetime warranty on hardware. And if there are any return merchandise authorizations, they will be shipped from California or Pennsylvania. If you should have any questions regarding the SEGO+QSEG configurations, please hit me up at mike@wsdisplay.com or feel free.